What's up guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at an experiment that I kind of wanted to try out, and I actually had pretty great results both here at the house and on stage. This is like an all-in-one pedal board based rig that it differentiates from pretty much every other pedal board setup that I've seen, in that this offers the ability to run a full wet, dry, wet setup. Now, as you can probably already tell, you can probably kind of see how most of this works, but let's take a minute to go through how the signal path is set up and how the different products sort of make the magic happen here. Before we do though, I need to give a big shout out to Thomas Blug from BluGuitar for lending me this Iridium to try out for a while. And if you haven't already seen it, I did a full review both on this unit and the Mercury, and did a head-to-head comparison of the two amps as well. So I will have links down to those videos down below if you want more information on this or the Mercury. Okay, so like you heard there in the intro, this setup offers, I think, all of the major components that most rock and metal players need for a somewhat compact pedal board based setup. So I dusted off the old G50 wireless unit here, and it sits on top of the Friedman power supply. The wireless feeds into whatever drive pedal I want, which in this case is the MEQ driver, and I've been reaching for this one a lot lately. I really am kind of taking a liking to how this interacts with pretty much all of my amps. The signal then goes into a Ernie Ball MVP volume pedal, and then it goes into the input of the BluGuitar amp. Now, here's where the flexibility of the Iridium truly shines. The Iridium is providing just a little bit of reverb on effectively what can be a 3-channel setup if you run the unit in preset mode, but because I like to stick with one drive sound on stage, I'm running this in the default switching mode. In the default mode, this first switch right here toggles between clean and whichever of the drive modes you've selected. The middle boost here, the middle button here selects the boost, toggles that on and off, and the third switch toggles on and off the reverb. For me, it was important to keep the ability to toggle the internal boost on and off because the Iridium, it provides a different type of push to the sound when it's boosting as compared to, say, the MEQ driver over here. So I like to be able to have both different types of boost available. Now the TC Spark over here, it is connected into the effects loop of the amp, and it only is there to toggle a decibel boost for solos, and none of the other stuff is in the loop. Okay, so here's where all of this gets fun. So the main speaker cable here, it just goes straight into a cabinet on stage, and this is where the dry sound on the stage happens, although technically it's not dry since it does have a little bit of reverb coming from the BluGuitar here, but this is not part of the larger stereo sound where there's a lot more reverb and the DI part is all happening. The reverb is set somewhat low-ish, and I'll get into that in a minute here. So let's go ahead and get into the other half of the sound. Now the Iridium, it has a built-in speaker sim, but I prefer the sound and the flexibility that the Aux Stomp provides, and unlike the Mercury, with the Iridium, you can disable the cab sim for a pure DI signal. This DI signal is going into the Aux Stomp, which handles the cabinet, the speaker sim, and stereo reverb. Now, even though the Iridium does have reverb built in, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not running too much of that. I just want a little bit into the speaker cab on stage, just enough so that it's not bone dry, and most of the reverb is coming from the Aux Stomp. Now, just like with the extra flexibility with the speaker setup, I like the flexibility that the Aux Stomp brings with the reverb settings as well, and because it's a stereo reverb, you do get a nice amount of depth to the sound. From the Aux Stomp, it's going stereo left and right out into stereo left and right in of the DelVerb, and the DelVerb is where the big stereo effects happen. Despite absolutely incredible reverbs that this pedal can produce, I'm not actually using it for reverb. I've got this set up with the stereo delay on one side, and in the reverb presets, there's actually a really nice multi-voice chorus that you can set up on the reverb side of the pedal. And set up like this, I can toggle either of those two effects with the two switches here, and the signal then goes left and right out of the DelVerb. One cable goes out into the FR on stage with me, and the other side goes into the PA, and that is how all of this works. So in summary, speaker cable out dry from the BluGuitar to a cabinet on stage, DI out from the amp one into this for the speaker sim and some stereo reverb, stereo out into the DelVerb for delay and chorus, and then one half out to the FR and the other half out to the PA, and that's where the wet, dry, wet sound comes from. And that's kind of it. It's all nice and self-contained, and I don't need like a rack mount power amp, and I don't need any other sort of supplemental power to make any of this happen. It's all self-contained on the board itself, and it worked great. So we'll get into the post-gig report here in a minute, but I wanted to really lay out exactly how I have this set up. So if you have a BluGuitar amp or something similar to it, then you can hopefully kind of get an idea of how you can set up your own wet, dry, wet setup. All right, let's hear some more sounds of kind of this whole setup, and I've got the dry signal is going into the Splawn cabinet with a 421 on a Scumback H75, and let's see, and the DI is just going straight into the interface over there. And the big trick here though is that in the studio, running both DI and cabs mic'd at the same time, it introduces some phase issues, and I'm gonna try really hard to kind of align it as good as I can to sort of minimize that out of phase sound, but just know that in person, your ears really can't hear the phasing stuff going on, especially not on stage. So I'll do my best to align the tracks to hopefully minimize that as much as possible. And I'll also do track muting where I mute one side and then you can hear the other part. So you can hear what just the speaker cabinet sounds like and just what the DI sound sounds like. So let's get going here. All right, so the current setup is exactly how I used it on stage. I used the vintage gain, and it works so well for all of the songs that we play, and it takes boost. You can stack the boost and all that good stuff. So it really does have the most flexibility for the type of music, which is 90s and 2000s rock. It really does have the most amount of flexibility in this configuration, but we'll go through all the drive modes. They all sound fantastic. So as you can hear, the actual reverb knob on this is effectively your level for the chorus effect in this case. So the more I turn it up, the more chorus effect is actually in the sound. So it's really neat that you can kind of fine tune it exactly how much of the wet chorus you want in there with it, without the sound getting too weird with it one way or the other. And a second ago, you saw me flip this this switch right here, the mid-range toggle, to the middle frequency, which selection, which kind of emphasizes a little bit more in the upper mid-range, as opposed to the 1000 kilohertz over on the right, which is kind of more of like a mid-range. I don't know how to explain it, but the classic mode is a little bit more fat than the vintage mode, and I feel like the middle setting on here for a little bit higher frequency in the mid-range push kind of helps. It sounds a little bit better in that mode compared to the 800 or the 1000 kilohertz. So here we go, boosted with the MEQ driver. All right, let's go check out the modern mode here. All right, so what do you guys think? For purely a pedal board based setup, here in the room, I really like what I hear, and I like what I heard when I took this thing on stage, so let's get into that. It's time for the post-gig report. Now, if you caught either review of this or the Mercury, you'll know that I've taken both of these units on stage a couple of times, and they really do seem to sound their best when they're going into a 212 or a 412. I used this setup with my White Box 212 on stage, and it had a really nice deep punchy sound from the cab, and of course the DI sound from the PA and the FR, they were awesome as well. Now, as good as this thing sounds with a speaker cabinet connected, I feel like I enjoy the DI sounds when paired with either the aux Stomp or sometimes the aux box even more, and I've been using this quite a bit here at home when running through songs for shows because it's really quick and easy to set up, and if I don't want to use a cabinet, I don't have to be really loud like some of my other amps, and I can still sound great just running DI straight out of this thing into any kind of cab sim. So other than me missing my wah pedal for a couple of songs simply just due to the board itself not having any room for it, it really was just an awesome sounding setup on stage, and it was easily one of the fastest and easiest setups that I've ever had. So yeah guys, these BluGuitar units, they really do continue to impress me, and if you haven't checked them out, they really are incredible little units. They have a ton of power and a lot of flexibility for different types of playing setups, whether you want to run DI or to a cab or something more complex like this, it can do all of that. Now, it's worth pointing out that you don't need an expensive cab sim or a reverb pedal or delays or anything like that to achieve a sound like this. This is just kind of stuff that I had laying around to use. Really, any stereo delay or chorus pedal is gonna get the job done, and I've mentioned it several times on the channel, but the little Sonic Cake IR loader pedal, it's like a $50 little unit that you can load whatever impulses you want into it, and then send that into any stereo effects pedal or multi-effects unit, and you've basically got everything you need at that point. Or you can save a few bucks and just use the built-in cab sim that the Iridium itself has and just run straight out of this into whatever stereo pedal you want. Setups like this don't have to be expensive, they don't have to be complicated, and they're certainly a lot more simplified than the days of using like the rack power amps and 3 big 412s to get the same type of sound, although after hearing a setup like that in person with 3 412 cabinets, it's easy to understand why some players still go that route. They sound absolutely huge, but for most of us that either play out at bars or clubs, or we have a budget we'd like to stick to, setups like that are really overkill, so it's nice to have cheaper and more portable options like this. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this little experiment, and if you want to check out anything that I've used in this video, I will have affiliate links down in the description to Zound's website for all of this stuff. And again, using those links to buy anything on their website, it really does help me out at no extra cost to you guys. And it's a great way to help support what I do here on the channel. Also, if you're not subscribed, hitting that sub button down there below, it's totally free and it helps get videos like this out there to more new viewers. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoy the video and I thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, bye.